Have you ever wondered if there's more to reality than what we can see and touch? What if the irritating habits of your most annoying coworker were actually a pathway to profound spiritual growth? This might sound like a far-fetched idea, but the intersection of quantum physics and spiritual consciousness is revealing that everything is interconnected in ways we're only beginning to understand. In this video, we'll explore how the principles of quantum mechanics are echoing ancient spiritual wisdom, offering us a revolutionary perspective on reality, consciousness, and the very nature of our existence. Get ready to question everything you thought you knew, as we delve into the fascinating world where science and spirituality intertwine. The quest to understand the fundamental nature of reality has been a driving force behind both scientific and spiritual inquiry for millennia. Philosophy, as the love of wisdom, has always sought to answer the big questions. Who are we? Where do we come from? What is the meaning of life? Ancient philosophers like Plato and Aristotle grappled with these questions, laying the groundwork for Western thought. Plato's theory of forms suggested that the physical world is merely a shadow of a higher, more perfect reality. Aristotle, on the other hand, emphasized empirical observation and logic, setting the stage for the scientific method. In the East, spiritual traditions like Hinduism and Buddhism offer different perspectives. Hinduism, with its concept of Brahman as the ultimate reality and Atman as the individual soul, emphasized the interconnectedness of all things. The Upanishads, ancient Hindu texts, explored the nature of consciousness and the path to liberation. Buddhism, founded by Siddhartha Gautama, focused on the cessation of suffering through mindfulness and meditation. The concept of emptiness, or shunyata, in Mahayana Buddhism, suggested that all phenomena are devoid of inherent existence and are interdependent. Key figures like Nagarjuna, a Buddhist philosopher, further developed this idea, arguing that reality is ultimately beyond conceptual understanding. Fast forward to the 20th century, and we find a scientific revolution that would challenge our understanding of reality in profound ways: quantum physics. Scientists like Max Planck, Albert Einstein, and Niels Bohr ushered in an era of unprecedented discovery, revealing that the universe at its most fundamental level behaves in ways that defy classical intuition. Quantum mechanics introduced concepts like superposition, entanglement, and the observer effect, which suggested that reality is not fixed and objective but rather probabilistic and influenced by observation. The famous double-slit experiment, for example, showed that particles like electrons can behave as both waves and particles, depending on whether they are observed. This raised profound questions about the role of consciousness in shaping reality. Is it possible that our minds are not just passive observers but active participants in the unfolding of the universe? The connection between quantum physics and consciousness is a topic of intense debate and speculation. Some scientists and philosophers believe that quantum mechanics provides a scientific basis for understanding consciousness, while others remain skeptical. One prominent theory is the integrated information theory (IIT) proposed by Giulio Tononi, which suggests that consciousness is related to the amount of integrated information a system possesses. According to IIT, any system that has a high degree of integrated information, whether it's a brain, a computer, or even a single atom, has some degree of consciousness. Another theory, known as OR, orchestrated objective reduction, developed by Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff, proposes that consciousness arises from quantum processes in microtubules within brain neurons. While these theories are still highly speculative, they represent attempts to bridge the gap between the physical world and the subjective experience of consciousness. Now, let's bring this back to your annoying coworker. Imagine that their irritating habits, the constant humming, the incessant complaining, or the peculiar way they organize their desk are actually opportunities for you to practice mindfulness and compassion. In spiritual traditions, it's often said that our greatest teachers come in the form of our greatest challenges. Your coworker, in a sense, is a mirror reflecting back to you your own impatience, judgment, and lack of acceptance. By observing your reactions to their behavior without judgment, you can begin to cultivate a greater sense of equanimity and inner peace. This is not to say that you should tolerate abusive or harmful behavior, but rather to recognize that even in the most frustrating situations, there is an opportunity for growth and transformation. Consider the story of Sarah, a successful executive who found herself constantly irritated by her colleague, Mark. Mark was known for his disorganized work style, his tendency to interrupt meetings, and his seemingly endless stream of complaints. Sarah initially tried to avoid Mark as much as possible, but their roles required them to collaborate on several important projects. As Sarah became increasingly frustrated, she began to realize that her reactions to Mark were causing her a great deal of stress and unhappiness. She decided to try a different approach. Instead of focusing on Mark's flaws, she started to observe her own reactions to his behavior. She noticed that she would often feel a surge of anger or impatience whenever Mark interrupted her, and she would immediately shut down and become defensive. Through mindfulness practice, Sarah began to recognize these patterns and to create a space between her thoughts and her reactions. She started to see Mark not as an obstacle to her success, but as a teacher who was helping her to develop greater patience, compassion, and resilience. She began to listen more attentively to Mark's complaints, trying to understand his perspective and to find common ground. To her surprise, she discovered that Mark was actually a very intelligent and capable person who was struggling with his own insecurities and anxieties. As Sarah's attitude towards Mark shifted, so did their relationship. They began to collaborate more effectively, and Sarah found that she was actually learning a lot from Mark's unique perspective. Eventually, they became close friends, and Sarah realized that Mark had been one of her greatest teachers, helping her to grow both personally and professionally. From a quantum perspective, we can understand this transformation in terms of interconnectedness and entanglement. Just as entangled particles are linked in such a way that the state of one particle instantly affects the state of the other, regardless of the distance between them, so too are we all interconnected in a vast web of relationships. Our thoughts, emotions, and actions have a ripple effect, influencing the people and the world around us. When Sarah shifted her perspective on Mark, she changed the quantum field of possibilities, creating new opportunities for connection and collaboration. This is not to say that we can magically transform our coworkers into perfect beings, but rather that we have the power to change our own reactions and to create a more positive and harmonious environment. The evidence for the connection between consciousness and the quantum world is still largely circumstantial, but there are several lines of research that suggest a possible link. Studies on the placebo effect, for example, have shown that our beliefs and expectations can have a profound impact on our physical health. When people believe that they are receiving a beneficial treatment, even if it's just a sugar pill, they often experience real improvements in their symptoms. This suggests that our minds have the power to influence our bodies in ways that are not fully understood. Similarly, studies on meditation have shown that regular practice can alter brain structure and function, leading to increased levels of compassion, empathy, and mindfulness. These findings suggest that our conscious intentions can shape our brains and our behavior. However, it's important to acknowledge the limitations of our current knowledge. While quantum mechanics has revolutionized our understanding of the physical world, it is still a relatively young science. Many of the interpretations of quantum mechanics are still debated, and there is no consensus on how consciousness arises from the brain. Furthermore, it's crucial to avoid making simplistic or unfounded claims about the connection between quantum physics and spirituality. While there may be parallels between the two, they are ultimately different domains of inquiry, with different methods and goals. Science seeks to understand the objective world through empirical observation and experimentation, while spirituality seeks to explore the subjective experience of consciousness and the meaning of life. It's important to approach this topic with both intellectual rigor and spiritual humility, recognizing that there is still much that we don't know. The implications of these ideas extend far beyond the workplace. If consciousness is indeed fundamental to reality, then it has profound implications for our understanding of ethics, morality, and our place in the universe. If we are all interconnected, then our actions have consequences that ripple far beyond our immediate surroundings. This suggests that we have a moral responsibility to act with kindness, compassion, and respect for all beings. Furthermore, if consciousness survives death, as some spiritual traditions claim, then it challenges our conventional understanding of mortality and the meaning of life. Technologically, insights from quantum physics are already leading to breakthroughs in areas like quantum computing and quantum cryptography. Quantum computers, which exploit the principles of superposition and entanglement, have the potential to solve problems that are currently intractable for classical computers. Quantum cryptography offers a secure way to transmit information, using the laws of physics to guarantee the privacy of communications. These technologies are still in their early stages of development, but they have the potential to revolutionize fields like medicine, finance, and artificial intelligence. Emerging trends in consciousness research include the study of altered states of consciousness, such as those induced by meditation, psychedelics, and near-death experiences. These states offer a unique window into the nature of consciousness, allowing researchers to explore the boundaries of human experience. Another trend is the development of neurotechnologies that can interface directly with the brain, allowing us to monitor and even manipulate brain activity. These technologies raise ethical questions about the potential for mind control and the privacy of our thoughts, but they also offer the possibility of treating neurological disorders and enhancing human cognitive abilities. So, the next time your annoying coworker gets under your skin, remember that they might be your greatest spiritual teacher in disguise. By shifting your perspective, practicing mindfulness, and embracing the interconnectedness of all things, you can transform your relationships in your life. What if the key to unlocking the mysteries of the universe lies not in our telescopes or microscopes, but within our own consciousness? What changes might you make today if you truly believe that you are connected to everyone and everything? Thank you for joining me on this journey into the intersection of spirituality and quantum consciousness. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And be sure to subscribe to my channel for more thought-provoking content on science, spirituality, and the nature of reality. Also, let me know in the comments what are some of your experiences with annoying coworkers, or leave a comment on what spiritual teachings you would like me to cover next.